Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video.
Drop boxes have become really popular again. But actually, this is a back to the future story. Keep watching to find out more.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient.
Gary, today we're going to do a little bit of a back to the future episode. Any idea what this could be about?
Well, I think we in our prep we were doing something on post boxes or drop boxes, and there's some. You've been flicking through your full set of Encyclopedia Britannica for postal facts again, haven't you?
Yeah, indeed. Well, look, you have nailed it. So much to my surprise, actually, the first boîte aux lettres, which for those who speak French, like moi, is a letterbox, was introduced in. Any guesses, Gary?
Well, my mind. So because I'm British, my mind goes, well, it must be Royal Mail. It must be British. So it's not British. It's French, but I think it's going to be of a similar vintage. So Royal Mail's 500 years old. I don't think they had them straight away. 400 years ago, I'm going to go 1626.
Oh, that's very good. That's close. 1653, Paris, France.
Okay, yeah.
But it took a lot longer to get what we'd call the modern pillar box, as they call it. At least that's what ChatGPT calls it, which is, believe it or not, it was Royal Mail, Channel Islands, UK, in the 1840s. And it was proposed by a chap called Anthony Trollope.
Is it the same Anthony Trollope? Because that's
Yeah,
the
you're right.
author.
Novelist and senior
No.
post office surveyor.
Oh, okay. All right. A multi-talented guy.
Now, there's a reason. So, if everyone should bear with us why we're talking about post boxes and France and so on. It's because there's been a real renaissance. Recently, everybody and their dog is coming up with offers of drop boxes, which effectively are a modern version of the old post box. And you're going to like this, Gary. I have to say it. I think they've taken a strong lead from Quadient, who've been there for quite a while now. And maybe share with us, because how long? It's about 2 or 3 years now that you've been offering drop boxes as part of your locker offering.
Yeah, we showed it at the Parcel and Post Expo at least a couple of years ago. So we've got over 2,000 of them deployed in the UK now.
And so your one is interesting because you've basically added a drop box to a locker bank or a locker. And my guess is the understanding, not my guess, I know because it makes a lot of sense, is that for people who are returning parcels or using the locker for first mile, you don't need to block a whole lot of cells. You can just, particularly if it's small, sexy parcels, you just drop them into the drop box.
Yeah. So we forecast when we were developing the UK network that the majority of the locker usage in the early days would be customers looking to drop things off. Returns, the massive growth of social commerce, the vintage stuff, and other C2C, eBay, Depop, Etsy, and so on. And a lot of this stuff is small. You'd struggle to call it a parcel. It's probably a padded envelope, jiffy bag, tight pack. And putting one of those even in a small compartment is you've got about 4% fill, 5% fill if you're lucky on a small parcel locker compartment. So this idea of having a consolidation point, the idea isn't new, as you say, it's hundreds of years old, but bringing it up to date, making it electronic, making it smart, making it secure was what we introduced. And so in the space that we would struggle to get more than 4 or 5 normal compartments, 4 small, 1 medium, say, in that space, we can put a drop box, and in it, I think the record we've counted so far is 42 items.
Wow.
Been placed in there. So it's 8 times the density of a regular use of a parcel locker.
I'll tell you what, I feel vindicated because, are you ready for this? About 10 years ago, when I was on the supervisory board of InPost, I tried to push this idea. I failed dismally. Nobody liked it. But, chapeau bas to Quadient, who did do something. And I like the concept because I really genuinely think that it works well with the locker because it relieves space for the first mile and returns, but it allows you to integrate it with, the collection side. So I think it makes a lot of sense, which is different, by the way, to what we're seeing now.
So we try to build like one-stop shop or an automated PUDO, if you like. Hence the label printer, the Dropbox, so you can do all your parcel track and the agnostic approach. But what we are seeing now is these standalone smart drop boxes. And we've seen one from Modern Expo. There's one being teased on LinkedIn by Blockit. That's going to be at the I don't know whether this will go out before or after Post and Parcel Expo, that was shown at, or is going to be shown at Parcel and Post Expo.
You know, the pretty cool devices. They look pretty similar. Let's see which one actually finally comes out on the streets, because I think the real test is, you know, which one is able to be used at scale. Having said that, I'm with you, Gary, and with Quadient genuinely on the point that they go together, in my opinion.
Well, the thing
But
is, Marek, you're not going to see either of these on the street because they're both indoor only. So
we
that's the other thing that's interesting, is to make them function in that way. They put them inside a store, and that does a number of things. The weatherproofing and all that kind of stuff goes away. You've lost that issue. The ability to power them, obviously, in store you're going to get power. You haven't got to worry about solar panels and batteries and weighing it down with concrete or anything. So you can start building a more compact device from there. And also, you don't have to worry about security quite so much, because the thing is probably going to be observed. It's going to be inside, it's got CCTV on it. Do you know who I feel the most sorry for in all of this? It's Mike Richmond, ex of Doddle, Blue Yonder. I don't know if you know Mike. If you've ever been to any postal or
in fact,
parcel event,
congratulate him on his new role.
exactly. Now MD of Consumer at Royal Mail. I was going to say, if you've been to any parcel or post event in the world, anywhere ever, you will have met Mike, because he's 6'5" and he's everything. But he's been dragging a Dropbox along from Doddle for about 5 years to every one of these shows, and has done a deal with Amazon in the States to go into their grocery stores. But suddenly it's in vogue, and Doddle were, I know you were 10 years ahead, Doddle were 5 years ahead.
But I think that horses for courses, but in my view, the fact that it's inside only has advantages. Of course, it's cheaper, easier to do, but
Yeah.
it also has limitations. You're stuck with the opening hours of the store. People have to physically go into the store. So, you know, I think each has its merits and demerits. But listen, before we finish this episode, I definitely want to talk about a couple of other things, because there are things that I think are relevant. And I think it's fair to mention that Latvian Post and probably a few other posts have done some cool stuff in this space. So what Latvian Post did, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, they put a traditional letterbox as part of the locker bank. So lower tech than perhaps some of these devices. But I think it's also cool because if someone goes to the locker, then, you know, they can drop off their letter in a traditional way as well. But the other one, which I think has to be mentioned, is Royal Mail with their letterbox upgrade. So, you know, this really is the Back to the Future story where, you know, 200 or 300-year-old letterboxes have been given a solar cell.
Solar hat, I would say, Marek.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you had to say that, didn't you?
It's in my contract. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe in the comments below we'll explain why I've got a hat today, but that's another story. But yeah, the solar hat, and they're able to actually offer basic Dropbox services. But what is really interesting, I think the pilot was for a few thousand of these letterboxes, but Royal Mail has about 115,000 throughout the UK.
Yeah, 130. I think that the number I've got in my head is 113,000. Happy to be corrected. I love giving out stats on this because I'm hoping that somebody will pick me up on it and go, oh, no, actually, it was 114,262.
Okay, well, here we have it. So Gary reckons 130.
So I've got a question for you, Marek. You always ask me these difficult questions at the beginning of the video. I've got a question for you. Who developed that technology for Royal Mail?
Who developed? I heard a rumor that it was in-house, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so they got their own engineering team down in Dorking in Swindon, and developed all kinds of things, back to Anthony Trollope's idea from the postbox right the way through to this. And the fact that was conceived, designed, built, deployed, and scaled all within this 500-year-old organization, I think is fantastic. It's a proper attention-grabbing innovation, and I think everybody involved with it should be really proud.
Well, I love it as well. I'm not going to let you off the hook. So Gary has said 113,000. I've said 115,000. Maybe somebody from Royal Mail could comment below and tell us who's right. I think we can agree that if it's me, then you're buying me a nice bottle of whiskey. We can drink it together, and vice versa, of course, if it's the other way around. Gary, as usual, great talking. But dear viewers, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and press subscribe. It helps keep these videos free for you. Gary, as usual, great talking, particularly on this topic.
My pleasure.